Hello there. I'm Joshua William Gelb, and welcome to Theater in Quarantine. It is Thursday, April 8th, and it is 9 o'clock here in New York City. On behalf of myself, my co-creative director, Katie Rose McLaughlin, and all of the Theater in Quarantine collaborators, I want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's performance of The Gas Heart by Tristan Tzara. Now, 100 years ago, in 1921, the Romanian-born French poet and essayist wrote The Gas Heart, exemplifying the Dadaist movement, which, in the wake of a world war and another devastating pandemic, rejected not only the concept of art, but the concept of meaning itself. Now, these days we're all too familiar with nonsense, and maybe that's what attracted us to the piece. That, and of course, the technical challenge that you are about to witness. Now, it's been a whole year since I converted the closet behind me into theater in quarantine, and in that time we've pushed way past the limits of this tiny confinement to grow and expand what one person can do in a closet. In addition to collaborating with over 65 different artists, we've projected performers into the closet and even remoted other performers into other remote closets. Last June, we premiered The Seventh Voyage of Egon Tichy, which featured 26 versions of me talking and interacting with me. Now, of course, we pre-recorded all of that, well, all but one live Tichy. But as we've continued to pursue a more rigorous approach to liveness and digital performance, we are beyond excited for you to see what we've put together tonight. Because tonight, I will be performing the entirety of Tristan Tzara's Gas Heart, all 6 characters, entirely live. Now, this is not a film or a pre-recorded broadcast. This is happening right now in a closet in my apartment, as anyone at the 7 p.m. show can tell you, because we had a few technical hiccups that we're hoping won't hinder us this time around. In fact, as soon as I press this button, I'll start capturing the loops that will be used throughout the show. A live sampling, if you will. Now, before we get started, if you like what you see tonight, please feel free to donate. Big or small. You can do so at any time during the show directly in the chat, or you could go to our Fractured Atlas link, which is in the description, and make a tax-deductible donation there. Any and all proceeds go to the artists whose work you're about to see tonight. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all things TiQ. Okay, I think we're almost ready. Now, tonight's show will run approximately 35 minutes. If you want to say hi to Katie Rose, myself, composer Alex Weston, visual designer Marika Kent, please stay tuned afterwards. We'll be chatting and answering any questions you might want to throw in the chat. All right. Are you ready? When I push this button, anything can happen. And it might. Hey, you! Statues, vibrators, radiators. 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 And the wind, responsive to various mathematical illusions. Cigar, pimple, nose. 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 He loved her abbreviations. Eyes replaced by belly buttons, breathless. Mr. My God is an excellent journalist. Rock hard and wet. Dead hello hung in the air. What a sad year. This conversation is getting boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Really boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Naturally, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Really boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Naturally, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Hey, you! The man with the star-shaped mole. Where are you running? I'm running to the next good day. I'm horny for last week. I'm swallowing my wallet and singing at the finish line. Love has no finish line. No starter pistol. It's just bobbing for hard-boiled hearts. Hey, you! The man screaming like a fat pearl. What are you eating? Unfortunately, it's more than 2 years since I began the hunt, but one gets used to the hunger. I mean, the dead could be attempting again to live, but since the last emperor died, the importance of things just decreases. Every day, a little. Hey, you! Down there! The man with the sores from sea silk shackles. The man with all the whining for pockets too full. The upstart sourdough starter. Where are you from? The bark of the tree of knowledge keeps all the worms dry, but it's the rain that keeps all the clocks of organized poetry ticking. Absorbent cotton ball futures. Another puppet buoyed by blisters ubiquitous. For the porcelain flower, we play a virgin violin of cherry trees. Death is brief and baked over asphalt with a capital T for trombone. Hey, you! Hey! Mandarin orange and white from Spain, I kill myself, Madeleine. So, the eye says to the mouth, open wide, please, for a little eye candy. Mandarin orange and white from Spain, I kill myself, Madeleine. I hear a pressed mimosa indicates a promising potential for a new vaccine. It's getting hot in here, isn't it? It gets hot in the summer. The beauty of your face is a certified precision chronometer. And white from Spain, I kill myself, Madeleine. The little hand points to the left ear. The right eye, the forehead, the eyebrow, the forehead, the eyebrow, the left ear, the left eye, the lips, the chin, the neck. Clytemnestra, the minister's wife, was looking out the window past passing cellos and black tea carriages. You are beautiful, Clytemnestra. Your crystalline skin awakens our sexual curiosity. You're as gentle and cool as 2 meters of white silk, Clytemnestra. My teeth are chattering. You're married. I'm cold. I'm anxious. I'm green. I'm a little flower. I'm the gas meter. I'm afraid. You're married. My teeth are chattering. When will you have the pleasure of watching the lower barrel of a gun close in upon my chalk lung? Without hope. Without family. Mandarin orange and white from Spain, I kill myself, Madeleine. Clocking your masochist tendencies, I'm turning off the tap. The hot and cold water of my sparkling personality can no longer quench the pursuit of your perspiration. Be it true love, whatever. His neck is skinny, but his foot is huge. It's so huge, he can drum, no problem, his toes upon his distended gut. Itself is already being used as the official game ball in a couple bouts of rugby. But he's much more than just the pieces that comprise him. Simple men produce houses. Important men, monuments. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Where? How much? Why? Now these are monuments. Justice is a monument. How beautiful when it's working like a nervous tick or religion. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. In the lake, twice dipped, in the sky, in the bearded sky, we found a lovely morning. The point's gone between nostrils, the sour taste of a weak electric current. That taste, which at the entrance to salt mines turns to zinc, to rubber, to cloth. Reflexive grimace. Now one night, while out for the night, we found a loose little bit of night. It was called a good night. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Look out, the hero shouted as plumes of smoke from the enemy camp tied itself in knots rising upwards to the belly of God. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Distracted, the thief turned into a suitcase, so the philosopher could say it was therefore the suitcase that stole the thief. Now the waltz was playing continuously. It was continuous, it wasn't was, but it was waltzing. And the lovers just tore it up as worthless posters from an old wall. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Oh, we'll catch colds for all this ticking, and for each tick of life a little closer to death. It's called continuity. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Oh, never has a fisherman cast for more murdered shadows under the bridges of Paris. But then, in the blink of an eye, it struck noon. Its tears concealed in encrypted telegrams. He fell flat as tinfoil. A few sips, a few memories, a few pages certifying the cruelty of ardent and actual animalia. The wind rips through curtains of nothing. His stomach filled with foreign currency. Nothing drinks nothing. The air has come with blue eyes. That's why he's always popping aspirin once a day at least to numb the obscurity. We still have time. Unfortunately, time isn't the problem. Time can grow a mustache like everyone else, even women and naked mole rats. The time is now. The eyes are getting worse, but they're not quite the wrinkled purse of the miser either, are they? Aren't they? This conversation is getting boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Really boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Naturally, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Evidently, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Really boring, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? Naturally, isn't it? Evidently. My God.
They're under starters orders, and they're on. And they're off first time to a pretty good break with 22 fences to jump and 3 1/4 miles to go. And the first to go on, it's all very fine. On the inside shows ahead of Hankier, 3 counties on Kelly's honour. That's the first 4 as they jump fence number 1. All safely over that. And racing up now towards the second with Hankier on the stand side, joining It's All Very Fine. Between them and a close third, just behind, is 3 counties. Mayan Core jumps in 4, Kelly's Honour in 5, Cauchemar towards the outside of Conway Grove, and on the inside of these Nijana. Then halfway down the field, Summons, a gap of a length to the Scottish Sound, who's a half length in front of Certain Might. Then comes Omer to Call Collect, and then after the Scar of Screen, and then a 2 or 3 length gap to McNabb's Quest and Miller Hill. And the pace, a sensible one in view of the conditions this afternoon as the field for the Fox Hunters swings away now.
Going out. We can go to the racetrack. Don't forget your camera. Well, hello there. Let the mechanized infantry handle the handshakes.
On the outside, and then comes the Muir Bay and ILLB. Through the straight they go. Tell Lady has the advantage. A Corona Dash closing in the purple on the outside, and then Flash Point. It comes to the wire. Tell Lady, A Corona Dash is close. Tell Lady and A Corona Dash. And the one gap back to the third place.
Clytemnestra's supposed to be a real winner. What? You didn't know that Clytemnestra was a racehorse? Hearts are a trump suit, but the odds look promising. Don't blink, friends. The odds look good. They'll chew their words. Now, they'll play silence like an accordion. The snakes are leering, but what do you do with all the eyeballs? Asks the moderator. The hunters and the curious, replies the ear. Now, the nerves are frayed in this here toilet. Oh, hot enough, too. Fan with a convulsion of wood. It's a little bit, but a big laugh. The drivers of mass-manufactured dreams kiss the lower lip of even lower carnivorous plants. Yes, I know. Dreams with hair. Dreams of angels. Tissue dreams and paper watches. Capital dreams of serious inaugurations. Angels in helicopters. Yes, I know. Angels of good conversation. Yes, I know. Comfortable angels. Yes, I know. Ice angels. Yes, I know. Background angels. Yes, I know. The ice is broken, said fathers to mothers in the spring of their youth, which was the right thing to say. This is how the hour understands the hour. The admiral, his fleet of words. Winter, children, the palm of my hand. I just won so much money! Not bad. I jumped in the fountain and I caught a goldfish. Not bad. I got my hair done. Not bad. It's nothing new. Not bad. I keep hearing there'll be another war, but I don't understand any of it. Not bad. I lost weight. Not bad. There was this guy who followed me down the street on his bike. Not bad. I'm leaving next Monday. Not bad. The wind blows, Clytemnestra, the wind blows. Even on docks with broken bells. Look away, go on. Your eyes are pebbles because they only see rain in the cold. Clytemnestra. Have you ever experienced war? Do you even comprehend the feeling of what I'm saying? We breathe the same air, don't we? We speak the same language. How much is that nettle on your cursed finger? What veil of sound keeps my love songs from piercing the wax of your brain? Sure, the stone gnaws at you, your bones, your muscles, but words minced, however you slice it, will never undam the flood of your pure power. Are you familiar with the calendar of birds? What? 365 birds. Every day a bird goes off. Every hour a feather falls. Every 2 hours we write a poem and cut it up with scissors. It's nothing new. Oh, now there's a genius. A real poet. I don't like poetry, but you do like your booze on the rocks. Rolling landscapes like a dancer's loose curls. Ancient ruins. Witchcraft. I know. Yes, I know. This scene needs is a little more action. A weak pulse for the flower of your lung. My lung is my lungs, and they're not for sale. But miss, say no more, sir. Easter Sunday in a military prison. I don't like this scene. I prefer the country where there's room to move. Charming, but I still don't get it. There's nothing to get. It is what it is. A bottleneck of ideas, the result of which is only the whip. And the whip is a forget-me-not. And the forget-me-not's a living inkwell. And the inkwell will one day, hopefully, put clothes on a doll. Is charming. You're too kind. How about those sports? This is almost a conversation. No, I have a garage. Thank you so much. It's spring.
Have a lady away quickly with dancing in the car. They close the dash on the outside and then comes the
Look it up in the Book of Love. Love cataloged over centuries by name and breast size. God, those crystalline leather flesh breasts. God. God is a nervous tick of erosion. Nervous and nimbly zipping through the province and pockets of his congregation. The mask of death is thrown at the outbreak. Just like new friendship incorrectly regarded as refined. Aww. You have a pretty head. You should make a sculpture of it, and then you should throw a big party to, get back to nature. And everyone there will stick forks in the sculpture. And we'll get stoned. And talk about the good old days. Fire! Fire! Clytemnestra's on fire! The sky is closed. My fingers open. Sewing machine manholes. The river is open. My brain is closed. Sewing machine manholes. That would make a beautiful dress. You mean to say depression implies causal impact on the exchange rate? I'm not saying anything. What But I did have to say I hid in a hat box a long time ago. Everyone knows you, saint of conjugal bliss. Everyone knows you, needle point of lost ideas. Crystallization. Everyone knows you. Verse, chorus, basic algebra, root of insomnia, triple ply roll. Not everyone knows me. I'm alone in a closet, and whenever I look in the mirror, I can't even see myself. But I love the birds at the end of lit cigarettes. Cats. And all the animals and vegetables. I love cats and birds and the animals and vegetables and all the symbols of Clytemnestra's courtship. Bed sheets, biscuits, the bush. I love hay. I love the young man. His sweet nothing, his sun-broken body, dreams of the buckskin twilight. Anymore. Who do you mean? I mean, anyone. I'm coming to my senses too. The best nag in my stables lost its oomph. We'll rehabilitate her. You're just jealous. You are beautiful, Clytemnestra. I love you with a snorkeler's clarity. Is seaweed. My blood is throbbing. Your eyes are blue. Why aren't you listening, Clytemnestra? My every heckling cell is ready for you. My violent breath and every delusional hope that fate allows. Are you perhaps expecting to get to know me better? Too big, fixed, cruelly, extra large, small, short, shrill, fatuous, fabulous, interminable, ignorant, intense, delicate, violent, fashion, slim, anxious, dumb, fair, courage, skinny, obsolete, shy, pretty, basic, accommodating, profound, dishonest, ugly, dull, crude, dark, superficial, unoffensive, harmonious, smooth, stiff.
And white from Spain, I kill myself in the lane.
For the race horse Clytemnestra, 3,000. Going once. Going twice. 3 times sold. These things always end with a wedding, right? Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around. So we had some trouble, as I mentioned in the earlier show, so it was exciting to get a full run-in with everything, seeming to work. Of course, I'm always flying blind with these shows, so I don't exactly know. But I do know that the audio loops all played through, so that means something worked. Anyway, thank you. And then I had to get a martini, and then I had to find the olives. It was a thing. Welcome to the late show. So I'm going to bring in, thank you all. You're just saying such kind things in the chat. We are going to do a little talk back with the whole team here. So allow me to awkwardly navigate Zoom while talking to you. Of course, we've got some really exciting stuff coming up the rest of the season this spring, including a collaboration with New George's and playwright Julia Izumi, which is our next piece, which is April 29th, I believe. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Entering a room. In the meantime, I'll also mention that if you enjoyed the piece, feel free to donate. There are links in the description. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We've got, again, a show coming up every 3 weeks. So I hope you join us for that. All right, we are so close to making this work. It should be good. All right. So allow me to introduce the team behind Gas Heart. Katie Rose, would you mind? Well, this is first Katie Rose McLaughlin, my co-creative director. Katie Rose, would you mind taking it away and dealing with introductions while I have a sip of this martini?
Oh my goodness! Did you make yourself?
Headphones in.
Did you? Oh yeah, put headphones in first before I talk. Otherwise, I'm going to sound like a crazy person.
What? I can hear you.
Great.
Okay.
Hi everybody. Josh, I'm so happy that you have a martini and that you did such a beautiful show. Yeah, Alex Weston, Marika Kent, do you want to introduce yourselves and say what you did on the show? Marika, you want to go first? Uh-oh. Oh, there you are.
Sure. You cut out a little, but I think Thea is intro. Hi, I'm Marika Kent. I'm a lighting designer. I did visual design for the Gas Heart. Am I cutting in and out?
You're good. You did it.
Good now, yeah.
We got it.
Okay, great. I did it.
Awesome. I'm Alex Weston, and I wrote the music for the Gas Heart.
Yay.
Oh.
So lovely.
So as I mentioned, if you have any questions about the process, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll answer them as they come. From the most theoretical to the most technical, we'll answer it all. To how many olives are in my martini? The answer is 3.
I'm all about the 3 olive martini.
Oh, agreed. Any less is not enough.
Not enough.
Well, hopefully you're using better vodka than 3 Olive brand.
Oh, Alex, we have
vodka.
We have much to discuss. This is a gin household.
Josh, cheers. Great performance tonight, man.
Thank you. Cheers, seriously. It was, as I mentioned, we had trouble with the earlier show, which is rough because, it's sort of random trouble. And this is a piece about randomness in a way. So it made sense. And as some of the people who have returned mentioned earlier, in some ways, the glitches and the technical difficulties were sort of in conversation with the piece itself. But it is to say that without adjusting anything on the programming's part, it worked, I guess, seamlessly this time. So
it totally did.
Totally.
Yeah, it's to say 3 out of 4. We did 2 runs earlier, so 3 out of 4 times it works.
Those are good odds.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, I want to start out by Sonia said love the slot machine effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to talk a little bit about it because, Sonia, it's not just an effect. It happens to be a sequence in which Josh programmed that to happen. Josh, will you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, speaking of randomization, we were. I was very interested, and Alex, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the sort of Fluxus style world and prepared piano that you're existing in as well, because I think it's all in conversation here. Which is to say, I was interested in the randomness of dada in general, and particularly Tzara, who was known for these cut up style poems, sort of mentioned in the piece a little bit. And so basically I programmed an actual slot machine. It is 9 windows in rotation. And we time out which window lands, but those icons, the slot machine icons, are purely randomized, and it is a functioning slot machine. So we have spent way too much time in rehearsal just pressing the button and seeing if we can get a jackpot. And it's rare. It's really rare. Even with the odds of six out of those 9 slot windows being me in a closet, it is rare to get me in a closet 3 times in a row. Says a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Alex, did you talk?
But Alex, would you jump in on that? Because I feel like it's all in conversation and all part of like.
Totally. So one thing that I was doing with the music for this one is I mentioned in the talkback earlier that I didn't want to use any samples or electronics. Like everything was here. You can see that I took from recording this. Oh, there's my gen. You can see I took the face off my piano and shoved mics inside as close as you can hear the strings. You can hear the string sound. And one thing I tried to do with this was like musically, if you were to break it down and do like harmonic analysis, like you're in your first year at conservatory music theory training, there's nothing particularly going on that I tried to do with this that would rock your world. But one thing was trying to do these lots of overdubs of pianos in a way that was unrefined and random but structured, which is sort of the way this play works is we have this randomness, but there's still this structure going on. There's still conversations, even if they're gibberish. So a whole lot of this was just being like, this first slot machine section is just going C, F, C, F, C, F, C, F. I apologize to my neighbors. And, I just when doing the slot machine, like, well, how can I do it? I'll just do it in a bunch of arpeggios, and I'm going to overdub this 3 times. And if it takes more than 1 take, then it's not going in the project. Just this kind of randomness that lines up in this weird conversation that is intentional but not intended. It's not refined or anything like that. And I think that works really well with the kind of really meticulous haphazardness of the rest of the production that Josh and Katie Rose and Marika put together. It's an incredibly structured, disjointed monster. And and that was just my way of trying to inject my voice into that in a way that stuck with the artistic vision. I'm going to stop rambling now, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I mean, it's to say there is nothing haphazard about anything we're doing. And Marika, I would love for you to answer some of these questions that are popping up about the motion capture suit.
Yes. Yes.
Any specific question or just in general?
Yeah. So the question is, this is from Mark Singer. So does the ping pong suit have any practical function, or is it purely stunningly stylish?
Yep. And Jeremy is asking similarly, are the motion capture globes allowing us to do something?
They are not doing anything programming, graphics, animation wise at the moment. I hope it's not out of turn to share that we have like a little dream about, now that a recording of this performance exists with a green screen and this motion capture suit, like the possibility of like how someone not part of our group at all might be able to like mess with that footage.
I just want to see Smog from The Hobbit doing Joshua.
Yes.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Which feels sort of like the most like outer orbit of like this great dada practice. It's like when we fully lose control of the thing, what does it become?
And where did the suit come from? I mean, like, how did we like? Why
like
the idea of the suit?
Conceptually?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Why? Yes. Yeah. Well, we landed on the green screen before we landed on the suit. And once we were in the green screen world and making, well, at least I'll speak for myself, like I expected to, when we decided we were going to do that, I expected to put content in it and was surprised, like when I over and over again was like advocating for, no, just keep it a group box. And so we went down this rabbit hole about like digital placeholders and this sort of expectation, of something going to be there, but it sort of never shows up. And then we got it in the space, we only got the ping pong balls today.
Yes.
We got the unitard like 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah.
Pretty late. And so then, within that, there were some like really satisfying surprises, like the way that all of a sudden like Jar's body became like another symbol in the jackpot space, or the way that the ball sort of like how the costume sort of overlaps with this idea of like jester or like I guess more specifically, we were really concerned with the direction from Tzara to like not have the show take itself too seriously. And so like here was the thing that brought a lot of like play, like the idea of play back into the visual space is maybe
I mean,
the best way to answer the question of why.
if I can hop off that a little bit, this is a thing that I struggled with a lot while translating it. Now, mind you, I don't speak French, so it's all kind of riffs off of literal translations and Google Translate and all of that. But this big question of how do you translate a dada play kept coming up because, anytime you translate, you run the risk of adapting, of course, naturally, but also with dada, particularly, like, making it make too much sense. Am I, like, actually, like, Danielle, you bring up that I don't know if I'll love again. And actually, if I recall, the more literal translation was something like I don't know if I love him anymore. And I think we ended up wanting to kind of open it up a little bit to something a little more quarantine related, to something a little bit more with that insecurity that I think we're all feeling right now. Haven't been touched in a while, right? But so anyway, it's to say that similarly with the suit and the green screen, it's like, sure, we could set this in a coffee house in Switzerland in 1921. We could set this in, someplace right now. But these are decisions that make sense of it and don't actually let the text breathe and be as open and insane as it is meant to be. And so here was sort of a beautiful, somehow simultaneously ridiculous and evocative way of expressing potential for meaning, but not have to pin it down. And I also, because again, it's like, we looked at a lot of pictures of, I was looking at a lot of pictures of like the Avengers sets. And, there's something hilarious to me about like all the accoutrement of these like big CG movies, like blockbusters, but they're doing a Tristan Tzara dada play.
At least to me, sort of why I think that, I wasn't part of the decision to do like the green screen, the motion capture part of it, but like why I think it works so well is like sort of why, the whole gesture of the play is it's a conversation, but like, the conversation doesn't matter. It's a placeholder. Like the point is the gesture is it's a conversation. And therefore the motion capture in the green screen is it's the gesture of a location and emotion. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, we'll fill in the rest later. We don't need this right now. And that's why I think it just works really, really well. I really like that you guys made that choice. It's just that it doesn't matter what they're saying. It matters the conversation. That there's a conversation. It doesn't matter that what's being motion captured. The point is it's being motion captured. It's just there's all of these weird like just and you double down on that with the like insert horse footage, insert audience track. It's we don't actually have to see it, but we get the idea and we get the gesture, and I think that's very cool. Mm. And I can speak that way because I had nothing to do with that part of the process.
Alana says that she loved the music and each body part felt like it had its own personality, both in text and physically, and physicality. Katie Rose, what was it? How did we do this? Like this process, and I think it's fine to say that it was tough and slow and a little hard, but speak a bit to like what the rehearsal process was like.
Well,
Yeah, go for it.
a lot of the beginning part of the rehearsal process was just figuring out what this container was, like what the world of the show was, because you were still programming it. And did we talk about how the show actually functions?
This time, no, we haven't spoken about that. No one.
Which I think, it's important only in terms of understanding how the rehearsal process went, which is basically that, like, so Josh is creating these loops or these like live samples throughout the show that are going to appear at different points in time. So like he's not doing the show in order because he can't be 6 people at the same time. So he'll like say something, capture a loop that ends up in like this part, keep moving, that loop will come in somewhere, and then the loop that he did, like, so it's all this like crazy insanity. So rehearsing it was quite difficult because you had to do so many logistical things in order to accomplish the task of this show before we could even talk about like character and how each of these people are different. But Josh, you said something really, really smart early on, which is whenever people do this show, it's 6 people that are pretending to be one person or like parts of one thing, and that we have the benefit in this show of you just being one person that looks exactly the same in all 6 iterations. So then the task became, how do they look different? Yeah, and that was just like trial and error, figuring out who these people are. My favorite is that Josh, like, one day showed up to rehearsal and he was like, "Here's Mr. Peanut Butter," and we were like, great, got it. Now we know what to
Here's
do
Mr.
here.
Peanut Butter. He's also like kind of taken on. We've done the Seinfeld parallels as well. I do think I've decided to swap Ear and Nose, and now Ear is Kramer, Nose is George. This all makes too much sense to me.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So, but these are our little ways of like trying to create definition. As Katie Rose mentioned, we had a sort of map, a physical map that had to be accomplished, and what's funny is it was actually a lot more flexible ultimately than I think the impression was going into the rehearsal room, because I would send people these videos and be like, here is the act. And then everyone would kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And I'd be like, but you could change it all. It just, like, this is an intimation of how the physicality could interact with the looping system in order to get people to talk to one another. And that actually within that, there was an enormous amount of freedom for us. And realizing like, oh, what Josh is doing, right, you can say you don't like that because that's not essential to the looping. What is essential to the looping is that I can do that and then get there immediately and look to that wall there. And so it took us, I think, a little while to understand the map, to get the map to work, which, you know, still to this day is a little tricky. And then really just in the past few days did we finally like say, oh, okay, well, here's actually a little bit more of an official draft of how to let the characters interact. I think one of the fun thing that I experience on my end with this piece is that I am performing an entirely different show than what you're watching. Now I'm really hoping the video, I took a video of just my closet, and I'm really hoping it didn't, die or something. But we will share that because it's a totally different play. It is the Gas Heart totally deconstructed and non-chronological, and it's very interesting because it's an entirely different progression of how I move from character to character. And there's a logic to it. Even though it's a logic that you do not ever get to encounter. It's the logic where, I'm capturing in the middle of a slot machine, at the top of Act 2, while the slot machine is doing that. And all of those moments are capture moments, are moments where I am doing something else so something else can happen later. I capture the line, what this scene needs is a little more action. And then I proceed to capture a 5-second loop of myself riding a horse. And then proceed to jump into so everything actually has a sort of implied logic that carries me through the show. And that's kind of how it ended up coming together. The first thing I showed everyone was a color-coded script. And I said, we're looking for patterns. We need to find patterns so that we can cut this thing up and figure out how to put it all back together in the same order. Ned. Sorry. What we're trying to convey is that, yes, Ned is asking, so everything we saw today on the screen, Josh performed over the course of this 40 minutes, nothing pre-recorded. Yes. Marika, did you want to jump in with something?
Yeah, I just wanted to drop in as a process footnote this funny experience I would have where I would give notes thinking that I was giving notes in the sequence of the show, but in fact Josh was receiving them as oh, we're going back to when I did that now. Mm-hmm. It was a funny kind of experience. And knowing that working in this medium, it's there's two versions of linear time at work. I found quite fascinating.
Yeah. Mm. And people often ask us about the where we're going next with theater in quarantine, and I think actually this show is in some ways an experiment in how we could move forward, particularly because there is such a distinct difference between this art piece that we have given you, that you are watching on YouTube, but also the art piece that is the construction of it, which is a whole separate entity. And so we are excited about finding a sort of hybrid form that allows us to embrace both elements of liveness. And we would love to have a physical audience watching this experience, but also be streaming it and also be somehow conveying both experiences. And so this is a test. And I think we were always very clear about that with this project. We were this is us. This is a formal experiment in can we achieve this, this mode of making art? And it'd be exciting to go back to something like Seventh Voyage of Egon Tichy, which is, a real tight 30-minute farce. But what would happen if we had to, somehow in the course of an evening of theater, pre-record 26 versions of everything in order to actually do the 30-minute farce. So, yeah.
Amazing.
That's your idea, KR.
I know.
brings you away to her calling it amazing then. Right.
It's
it
just
is an amazing idea, don't get me wrong, but
gosh, why you gotta call me out on TV? I want you to show everyone your fingertips though. It's this is how hard Josh has been programming, is that he has holes in the tips of his unitard because
it's like a Paul Simon song I ever forgot about. Diamonds in the soles of their shoes, holes in the fingertips of his unitard. Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yep.
All to bring you what you saw today.
So true.
Wow.
No, it was not. It was pre-recorded. We had a system of sort of loops and sections, so we would have safeties in case Josh looped something longer or shorter than we were expecting. But it was written with this in mind, so that we could have it try to at least feel seamless. And I guess we pulled it off. If you're asking if the music was played live.
Yeah.
So,
because we just Oh, sorry.
No, I was that was about it.
Just because we decided pretty early on that we knew, or well, Josh knew really early on that this show was going to be so hard on his computer, and bringing in additional actors was going to be really tricky. So as much as we would love to have Alex playing live, and maybe that's the next version of this show, that it was going to be like even more of a potential for failure.
Well, that's the live version of the show where you can actually just have Alex at the piano on stage.
I love it.
Well, given that every single part of that show has like 6 overdubs of piano, like the live version of the show is you surrounded by 6 pianists, and we're all. It's gonna be like a.
Someone get this to Bam stat.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like just
We need
big
6 pianists
surrounding Josh.
closet.
But this time we're in the closet and you're on the stage. It's gonna be great.
Oh, this is great. I got a miniature piano if we need it.
Oh, it's true, you do. I have a miniature piano too, so we have 2 miniature pianos.
So far, so good. We need 4 more.
And like maybe 2 or 3 more full-size ones.
Oh yeah, those 2.
Mark Singer asked, you seem to play around with temporal space a lot, both in tech and subject matter, i.e. Seventh Voyage.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that's partly thematic. Now, Seventh Voyage was brought to me by John Levin and Josh Luxemburg with Sinking Ship. But it is emblematic of a bunch of other pieces. I mean, for instance, Alex and Katie Rose and I worked on a piece called Footnote for the End of Time, which is a Borges short story, all about, temporal space and the suspension of time. But I think that's, and in some ways, I think a lot of these more this is a return to form in some ways for theater in quarantine, because we've been doing a ton of new work recently. But we started out mostly doing these adaptations, and the reason for that was the time. We were working every 2 weeks. We hadn't prepared any of this. We didn't know, we were just like, oh, okay, let's go. Let's do this. And adaptations were just easier and faster. But that being said, it all comes from this pandemic mindset, right? We're all trapped, and I'm alone in this apartment and in this closet most of the time, and so the idea of playing with space and time sort of just manifested and happened, and in particular, for all of us, time has become so relative, and in some ways, space for me has become deeply relative, because it's 2 by 4 by 8, but it's somehow attained a sort of epic scale where on my days off I have to close the doors, or just takes over the apartment. Yeah. Well, is it that time? It's that time.
I think it is. I don't see any more questions.
No, it's great. It's the time for final thoughts. It's the time for final thoughts. So this is when we do final thoughts. Alex, I want you to start us off. A final thought can be any thought. It doesn't have to be coherent or related to anything we've talked about. It can be purely promotional.
I guess I'm just, instead of promotional, I will just make it gratitudinal. And it has been, it seems like we're kind of coming up at the light of the end of the tunnel of this pandemic, with a lot of us getting vaccinated. And it's been great making theater with you guys over the past year and trying to define what theater means in this new context. So this was a really fun one. So gratitudinal.
Marika.
Oh my God, exactly what Alex said. My brother in a yellow sweater.
I forgot for the first one. For this performance, I remembered we had to be the yellow hoodie again.
We're like a little thing 1 and thing 2.
It's so, if I had a yellow hoodie, I would be wearing it. You two look amazing.
If we all had only if we all had motion capture suits, that would be the best.
I mean,
Right.
Get Lizzie on it.
Ping pong ball hoodie. Maybe that's my final thought, is just like an invitation to the world to incorporate more ping pong balls into fashion. I think would be great coming out of quarantine. And yeah, gratitude. Gratitude, I think in particular for something I talked about earlier. Oh my God, in this talk back or the other one? Let's talk about space and time.
what is time?
Just about like just about how fascinating it was to work in dada, and like how it was counter to like so many of my ingrained design impulses, and so working in that mode was like such a gift that I'm excited to take forward into time.
KR.
I'm gonna ride the gratitude wave and just say what a joy it was to work with all of you again, which is so great. We've got like a nice little TiQ family here, having worked with all of you before. And also, for those of you who don't know, that little video that plays at the beginning of all of our shows, Alex wrote the music to that as well. The reason why there's blood on the television behind you is from a show that Marika worked on this summer.
It's there.
Yeah, show us that. Yeah,
it's there.
So that little line that you see, point to the line. Just
like in life.
Yeah, like in space and time. Yeah. So that's blood for those of you who were like, what's going on with the television? It hit Josh in the head and then he bled all over it. But on that note, just huge thank you to Josh for like never stopping and sort of relentlessly helping us all through this madness as well. I feel like this process is always like we get a little sneak peek into your like genius brain, and this show in particular was like we all had to sort of like get in your head a little bit in order to understand how to make choices in our own respective fields. So that was just so interesting. And special thank you to Gabby for hanging around and to Lizzie for constructing this ping pong insanity late last night when I dropped it off to her. And for Alex for putting it in an Uber this morning. Josh, final thoughts?
I'm so glad the TV got brought up. It's like my arch nemesis, but also has kind of come around, and now we've done this piece together, and I think this time the TV felt a little pain. I was on top of it for a very long time, so we're getting along again. I'm talking to objects these days. Anyway, it has been a delight, and this is not a piece I would have inflicted on anyone who hasn't worked on a TiQ show before. So I am so additionally grateful to all of you for being part of this and jumping in on this true experiment. Anyway, we should go. It's late. We have a show coming up on April 29th. Its title is Long and Wonderful, and I have yet to memorize it. Kenny Rose, do you have it?
It's so good. It's I'm gonna try to do it off the top of my head while I find it.
All the
ways that Commodore Matthew Perry could have died before opening Japan but didn't. I'm pretty sure is what it is.
There we go.
All the different ways. Yeah, great.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is a co-pro with New George's. We're so excited. Coming up in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So that's in 3 weeks. So we jump into that on Monday. And other than that, I want to thank you all, those of you remaining. Have a good night. I'm Joshua William Gelb. This is Theater in Quarantine.